Sundays with Steve. On the 24th of February 2002, I had just left Montargis in France and was heading south. And I'm listening to the radio, and I've been following the story for a few days, and Russia had decided to invade Ukraine. And I mean, Biden had gone on the media a couple of days earlier and said Russia's going to invade. They had good information, and they're like, it's going to, and I'm like, nah, I just don't think they're going to. But they did. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to be bad. And I honestly thought that, I mean, Russia's really big. It's got three and a bit times the population of Ukraine, a big army, big navy, big air force, big everything. And they spent a lot of money on it. It still wasn't very good, but we didn't know that at the time. And I honestly thought, yeah, a week they'll be in Kiev. But the Ukrainians were like, not so fast. And they started to fight back. And they started winning. They started like stopping the Russians in their tracks. Now it's very difficult to push a really big army backwards, especially if there's more of them coming. So they just decided to not do that and just stop them. And they did. And Russians haven't really advanced much since that day. I mean, in the entire this year, they have taken 0.7 of 1% of the territory of Ukraine. That's, if you're an advancing army, that's shit. That's really bad. That's not good armying. So, it's got to this weird stalemate where it's all about drones. And if you look at like aerial photographs of the fields around the front line, they've got this spider web of glass fiber wire just stretched everywhere. Because if you're attached to your controller with a glass fiber cable, interference doesn't work. You can't touch that thing because it's being controlled by a wire, glass fiber. And they'll go 10 kilometers on these little glass fiber cables. That's going to be a problem to clear up. But there's a lot of things that are going to be a problem to clear up. I keep on hearing it's going to cost 500 billion to repair Ukraine. What? It's going to take a lot more than that. It cost 2 billion to build the Bay Bridge. So, to rebuild a country? Aye. So, I don't know about that. It's going to take a lot more. And you'll hear people on the right saying, well, yeah, but NATO provoked them. No, they didn't. NATO didn't provoke anybody. If you're living on a street and your neighbors get rowdier and rowdier and they're just like, being bullies, you get insurance in case your house is invaded. That insurance isn't provoking the people to attack you. And NATO is just insurance. It's purely a defensive organization. That's all it does. If you attack one country in NATO, then it's assumed by the people of NATO, Chapter 5 it's called, that an attack on one country is an attack on all of us. So we will all defend you. And so that's all it is. That's all that NATO is. And Russia keeps blaming NATO for starting the war. And it's weird how the people on the right, people I know, are siding with Putin, who's way on the left. Putin's gone so far to the left, and the people on the right have gone so far to the right that they've kind of met in the middle at the bottom again. It's like, no. I mean, why is Trump best buddies with Putin? Or he thinks he is. Putin just thinks he's an idiot. But Trump keeps saying that, Putin's a good guy and whatever. And then he's the best buddies with Kim Il-sung from Korea, North Korea, which is the most of the communist places in the world. And the amount of cyber warfare attacks that are hitting America and Europe right now is beyond belief. It's way up from where it used to be, and they're mostly coming from North Korea. Banks are getting robbed, cyber wallets are getting stolen, companies are getting their malware, and they'll take them hostage and they'll freeze all their computers. A lot of it's from North Korea. It's where they're getting a lot of their money from these days. So I don't know why you'd want to be friends with them. Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania and Finland and Sweden are now all in NATO. And Estonia has now been started, they're getting attacked by the Russians. Russians are like pushing them. They're just pushing them. And see, what they do is they experiment. They see how far they can push until they get a reaction. And they're not getting enough reaction. A Russian jet will get shot down at some point because they'll just meander into Latvia and they'll give them a warning and then they'll shoot them down. Or they might not even give them a warning. They don't have to. It's airspace. It's theirs. So Estonia is... those Nordic states are just countries are really the sort of test bed. And if you don't stop Russia in Ukraine by throwing weapons and funds at Ukraine, you're going to have to start... If you let them win, if you let the Russians win, then you're going to be fighting the Russians in 10 years' time on the border of Poland. And Poland's in NATO as well. Poland's our friend. Poland's an amazing country. So it's like, come on. The Russians are beginning to get their asses handed to them on the battlefield. There are two towns. There's a town called Kupiansk, and the Ukrainians just took it back. They just took it back because they can do. And there's another town called Petrovsk, and it's been going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, but it's taken 18 months and the Russians have not taken this one small town. And it's like, people don't seem to understand how significant that is, because the Ukrainians are still kind of the underdogs because they're a smaller country. They don't have any NATO troops in there. There are a few volunteer Americans, Germans, English, whatever, fighting on their side, but they're not official. They're just gone there because they're being paid to be there, and they probably believe in Ukraine being a free country. But don't give up hope. Do not believe what you read in the press. A lot of it is just copy and paste bad reporting. There's people, I tend to watch people who are actually on the ground in Ukraine, and the morale in the troops is not falling apart. They're not deserting. They've got enough troops. They could do with more, and they could do with more funding, and they could do with more munitions. But they're not doing badly at all. And you read, oh, they're on their last legs. No, they're not. And why Trump is trying to interfere the whole time when he has, for a year now, he's been like, I'll solve the problem. He can't. He's a fucking idiot. And he just wants to be in the press. He doesn't care who wins. He just wants his name attached to it. So, I don't know. it bothers me because it's one time zone away from me. I've got friends in Ukraine, and I'll go there. If I could, I would go there now because I'm interested to photograph it, shoot a film there, whatever. But I hope to go there at some point in the future because I think it's going to be a real powerhouse in Europe. Anyway, that's my Ukrainian talk for the day. Thank you so much for listening to me and watching this, because I don't know, I just sit on my little boat by myself. I don't know what I was thinking. I like it here, but I didn't like it yesterday. Yesterday we had a very strong easterly coming directly in, and there were literally little breaking waves just here. And I'm very securely tied off, but I had to check it a few times. And because it's like this echo chamber of concrete, the little waves are just all over the place. So you've got to walk through a door and the door moves and you bang your head. It happens a lot. I might have banged my head a few times yesterday. And it's just annoying because you can't really do stuff. You can, but trying to write when the boat is doing this, it's problematic. I'll tell you what I'm writing in the near future, but it's a comedy. I haven't given up doing the boat film. I just can't do it right now because the water's too cold. So I'm just going to move that to the summer and carry on writing the comedy. So that's it. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you have a fantastic New Year. And tell me your thoughts below. Tell me what you would like to see happen in 2026. Cheerio!